Good morning. Today is Thursday, February 9th, 2023. This morning, I'm contemplating a paradigm shift with regards to ideas and manifestations. Well, I'm referring to it as a paradigm shift. I suppose it may be a shift for you, or it may be simply the way you operate already. So let me not presuppose that it represents a shift. Perhaps what I could say is my impression is that it represents a bit of a tweak to the collective paradigm. So I've come to understand that we are in an act of creativity every time we experience anything or see anything. That implies there's a visual, or maybe even perceive anything. That would be a good way to say that. Hear anything, feel anything. Because you're a perceptual mechanism that interprets input. So you are giving it meaning as you are perceiving. So when you perceive something, your mind is responding to what you perceive. So I'm just looking across the room here and I see a door. My mind has been taught what the definition of a door is, and I'm replicating the definition of door that I've been offered every time I see a door and label it as a door. So I'm perceiving it, and then my mind is assigning it a function and a meaning and a name. You get the idea. So, but it doesn't have to be a door. I'm not required to give it that meaning just because someone else called it a door before. I'm not required to use it that way to close off a portal. So, in the frame of reference of a collective, a culture, a civilization, we tend to replicate manifestation. It's kind of on an autopilot, if you will. So we buy into each other's definitions and meanings and ways of thinking and being and paradigms, and then we reinforce them with by virtue of our attention to them. And they become more solid and more manifest and more informed by virtue of our continued investment of energy. So let's think about a financial system, for example, an economy. So right now we have a very big, very complicated, very heavy economic structure, global economic structure. And billions of people are replicating the ideas of this structure and investing in it and keeping it, making it solid and keeping it in form. And that economic structure has its basis in certain ideas. Supply is limited. If I want to be safe, I have to conserve and hoard my resources and keep them away from you. That's basically an idea based in the idea of there being a finite amount of resource. There is an inherent implicit limitation there. And then we perpetuate that and we keep it real and manifest in our experience. And those structures don't only exist out there in the world that we collectively experience, but that becomes a structure in an individual's mind. We're offered this idea that in order for me to keep myself safe, I have to earn and accumulate wealth and resources and then hoard them and keep them away from the person next to me. They'll get their own resources if they want them, they're responsible for that. I'm not necessarily agreeing with any of this. I'm just setting a scene. So imagine, based on that idea of an economic system and structure, what would happen if we collectively began to realize that the idea of lack is not true? What if we began to understand that resources aren't limited, and that the source of all creation is not limited and infinite, and in fact, the only reason that we are subject to economic limitation, individually or collectively, is because we claimed that idea once, and through our continued focus and we replicated the idea and made it real and strong and inform and manifest in our experience. So if a receptive mind comes in and says, now wait a minute, that doesn't have to be true. It's basically removing one of the an aspect of the foundation of an economic system. It's like pulling that rug out from under the whole idea of the economic system. However, because we have continued to give attention to this structure and system, it is replicated to the degree that it's difficult to redirect it or to re-know it or to remake it. Do you understand this? So going back to this idea of shifting paradigms, um, big changes in the manifest world or in culture or in society come about as the result of individual changes in the minds of individual people. And so, as more of us come online to shifts in our awareness, and then we begin to realize these shifts in our individual lives, that's how collective changes in manifestation may ultimately occur. We have to redirect the course of collective consciousness, starting with individual consciousness. I don't know if this is profound or not. Is it obvious and silly? But if we don't allow ourselves individually to renounce the meanings that things have been given and allow our minds to become more open, more docile, and more receptive, collective manifestation will only continue to replicate. That's what it wants to do. It wants to keep itself in place. Please let me know if you have any thoughts or ideas on this. This is I'm kind of out in left field here. Maybe not. I don't know, but I'm hoping that on this channel, through this series of vlogs and other contemplations, that I may be participatory to opening up our minds and inspiring us to be more receptive, more creative, more original. Let's stop replicating and start inspiring and creating and originating. That sounds very exciting to me. I think you get the point I'm trying to make today. Please comment or provoke or question. Let me know what you think about this topic. I'll leave it right there for today, and I'll look forward to connecting with you again tomorrow.